We are live. Hopefully we're a mob. It'd be interesting if we weren't. Hello, mob family. Good afternoon. Make sure we can see where we are. Internet was acting a bit strange, but nothing like the problems we've had in the past. I see Davina. I think I see Linda. Oh, yes, we're live. Excellent. Here we were. Let's do this. Turn this off. I can see the chat. Fantastic. How is everyone today? Make sure we could see everything. We got 6 people here already. Awesome. Let's see. Hello, Davina. Hello, Linda. Hello, Laura. Good morning, Cynthia. Hello, Elaine. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Mob TV Cafe Clutch episode 49. Hello, Audrey. Hello, who else came in? I think Chris Mendoza. Hello, and hello, everyone on YouTube. Good morning. I am live and slightly pixelated. That's how it feels sometimes in the morning when I wake up. Hello, Heather. Let me say hello to everyone. So let's see. Give the shout outs to the tribe, everyone who's watching, the little tribe, the big tribe, my sister. Dolly is not with us on set today. She's picking up the first Valkyrie, who has half a day at school, and so she had to wait by the school instead of making a trip and back and forth. It was easier just to wait there and then pick her up. And let's get my greeter in. Let's see.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode
49.
49.
To what? Episode 49 of what?
Oh, Mom TV.
Oh, okay. Just checking. It's episode 49 of your appearance. Good. ZTV. Awesome. So, as I was saying, Dolly's not on site, but I'm sure she's watching in the car, listening in the car as she drives back from the city. So let's continue. Everyone on YouTube again, hello. So to find us on YouTube, we're at Ben Peaches Storyteller. Go find us there. Like, subscribe, and share. So click on that notification button when you get a chance. There's a whole bunch of us in the mob, so some of us need to go all the way to YouTube and find the channel and like it so the channel can slowly start growing more and more. Okay? Also on Instagram, at Bitten Peaches. I've been putting up little snippets. I'm going to try and get even more creative. I have this great little program called Quotes Creator. So I'm going to find some more different backgrounds I can put and use quotes from the books to put on Instagram, on the page. So go find us on Instagram, at Bitten Peaches. Follow us. It'd be awesome. Let's get that growing also. We have a fantastic ZAZZLE store that Dolly has done an incredible job of populating with awesome swag. So when you get a chance, go to the ZAZZLE store and go get some swag. It's MNS, EMANDES at ZAZZLE. So, but MNS, obviously. And I'll give you some of the other things as we move on. All right, so, hey, how's everyone doing today? So if you didn't get to see it, I was on Binge Books earlier this week, Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, or Tuesday, the 25th. You have to excuse me. I have extra strong death wish today, so my brain is reacting to the extra death wish. But yes, Tuesday we were in Binge Books. We had a great. It was a 30-minute interview where I just kind of talked Monty and Strong, Tomb Yards and Butterflies, and there were a bunch of the mob. We pretty much turned it into a mob Binge Books event, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It just felt like a shorter version of the mob. I didn't know what happened afterwards. I know you guys talked after I left because that's the way the format is. The author is there for about 30 minutes, and then the book club stays and discusses. So, but I hear it was fun, and you guys had a lot of fun even after I left. So it was a nice experience, the Binge Books. We did take over a little bit. The mob took over, but it's us. We could have stayed there all day if we really, really wanted to. And enough of us came, we could have just taken over and the whole thing could have just been us talking. Because that's what, it was the binge mob coffee clutch, basically. Oh, John, if you told them all my secrets, there weren't that many secrets to tell, so there you go. What am I? Oh, see, let's see. Oh, I do have the Patreon short story interview set up, so I'll be doing that probably over the weekend. It depends on, I'm picking up some weird vibes, so my knee's acting kind of funky. Chris knows what I'm talking about. So sometimes that happens, and so I end up hobbling for a little while, for a day or two, and then everything kind of self-regulates. So I've been at this since Tuesday, but I picked up some ibuprofen to reduce the inflammation. It comes out of the blue, and it's a weird thing, but it happens. Well, I'm pixelated again. I can see I'm pixelated. Yeah, it happens. We know everything's connected, Chris. That's the way. You just roll with it. At a certain point, you just roll with it. And this is why, exactly, Davina. This is why I don't tell you guys things, because all my secrets get spilled. It's incredible. All right, so this month I didn't really release a newsletter because I was so focused on getting Requiem out, and I really wanted to do to focus on Requiem. But in June, I'll make sure to release at least one newsletter. I'm kind of torn about what to release in the newsletters. I always put out a newsletter when a new book comes out because I want the creative warriors, readers, that newsletter group to pick up the new book, obviously at a discount. But I don't want to just send out a newsletter for the sake of sending out a newsletter, and sometimes it comes across as spam. Well, it says interrupted, but it should be resumed shortly. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So it comes out as spam. So I'm going to start thinking about what I want to put into the newsletter. Maybe we can have a kind of a brainstorming session in the mob about what to put in the monthly newsletters. I don't want to do it more than once a month. I think once a month is good, and it doesn't come across as too much. And I haven't really been doing it monthly, but I want to be respectful of the people who signed up to the newsletter. It's over 5,000 of them. And I don't want them to feel like they just gave me their email and never heard from me again. So I want to give them something of value, but I also don't want to spam their email boxes. So it's something we're going to think about and discuss in the mob about what to put into the newsletters every month. I'm on BookBubs, so find me on BookBubs and follow. We only have about 200 something followers on BookBub. So this is all an effort to increase visibility of the books, basically. So follow me on BookBub, and let's get some of the mob family into BookBubs and the mob family into binge books, and leave a review on binge books. Or Dolly will give me a weird look like, hey, why haven't we gotten people in binge books? So yeah, please go follow us on binge books, go follow us on BookBub, follow us on Instagram, and follow us on YouTube. It's basically just increasing the visibility of what we're doing and sharing Monty and Strong and their world with everyone who hasn't heard about it yet. So please do that. And I think that's all the usual announcements in the morning. So how are you guys doing? Yeah, those are joint. I'm getting used. So here's the thing about the joints. I'm not quite at that age where joint problems are an issue. That's a caveat. But I have realized that I get these weird sudden joint issues, and it's not from, listen, I can squat 495 pounds. I can deadlift over 500. So it's not a matter of my joints are creaky and messed up. So, and I'm not under tremendous stress. So I started looking at what else could be causing it. So it's other things that might be causing it, a little bit more esoteric. And we could have a whole episode about that, but I'm not going to get into it. So I'm just looking into other aspects as to what it could be. So in the meantime, I have my shillelagh that I use sometimes to walk. And I have my ibuprofen. And my sister recommended me trying this. I'm gonna see. I've got to research it first. But osteobiflex, supposedly for joint issues. We'll see. There's also 30 years of martial arts involved there, history. So figuring sitting in Seiza, which is when you're sitting on your knees for long periods of time. And some of the stances are not gentle on the knees. So there you go. So it's also normal wear and tear. All right, let's see. Let me read the feed because I'm here solo today, and Dolly is my co-pilot, and she usually reads the feed to make sure that anything I might miss, she catches. So I'm going to read the feed. If I missed you coming in, welcome. All right. Oh, Jenna, I'm sorry to hear you guys are back in lockdown. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a 4-day week. For some of you, this is a 4-day weekend, so enjoy. I know Memorial Day is a holiday. A holiday here, at least, in the U.S. So, yeah. Yeah, John, and see, joint issues are in everyone's future. So what I try to do now, I might be, and this is just me personally, I might be stepping away a little bit from the hard gym work because I'm not 20 anymore, and just go back to just doing my walks with my weighted vest. I have a 50-pound weighted vest that I use for my walks, and I just might be doing that. So we'll see. I'm not training for any strength competition, so the gym is not an issue about me trying to get stronger. It's just trying to maintain the strength that I have. But I'm going to try and see if I can step away from the heavy weights as much and go more for the longer walks with the weight vest, just to keep myself fit. We'll see. Again, it's in the works. I got to, other things, but yeah. All right, the Techi thing reminded me, but then okay, so this is sometimes you get the announcements. What is MSM, Audrey? Can you? Oh, I think that's in Osteobioflex, the MSM. Yeah. Glucosamine, yeah, that's what Osteobioflex has, the glucosamine chondroitin. That's what it has. So I'm gonna try that. My sister has it. She takes it, and she takes it because she has no cartilage in her knees from years and years and years and years of running. So she wore it out, and she has to get like shots every few years into her knees, which I don't want to do. So, but she takes the Osteobioflex and she swears by it. So I'm gonna see. And CBD also works great too. I heard good things about CBD. But walking, staying active. I haven't been active because sometimes when I get into the writing, I get so into the writing that it's at the neglect of everything else, and that's why Dolly sometimes gives me space. Because when I get into the writing, like especially a Monty and Strong book, it's like I put on my headphones. These are my headphones. I put these on. The noise canceling. I don't hear anything. Don't bother me. Get away. I'm writing. And so Dolly just comes, she just visits me with like food and puts it like right next to me and then backs away slowly, But when I get into the writing, I get like that, and sometimes I don't even go train because I'm so focused on the writing. So I kind of have to balance that a bit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so in regards to the COVID vaccine, so those of you who are thinking, so Dolly's scheduled for this weekend. And I'm going to be scheduled once she gets her second shot because I've heard that the second shot gives you side effects. Not really bad ones, but it can take you out of commission. And we both can't be out of commission at the same time. So she's going to get her second shot. Once she gets her second shot, I'll get my first shot after she's, back to normal. But the little ones I've got their shots, and we're pretty much all going to get vaccinated. So if you can and you have the opportunity to do so, please do so. Okay? Yes, except that I think Davina says swimming is good for staying active with knee issues. It takes the weight off the leg. It's great. I think I'm negative buoyant because I get in the water and I go like an anchor. So I love being in the water. With the exception of the warrior, the girls, the Valkyries are fish. The first one who jumped in the water, Ava, she got into the water without knowing how to swim because I was concerned they didn't know how to swim. So when we first took them to get their lessons, she jumped into the pool without knowing how to swim and immediately took to the water. So I think that's in the family because Dolly loves to swim and my mom used to love to swim. So swimming is an excellent exercise that's not weight bearing, which is fantastic. But I'm not a big swimmer. I'm a big sinker though. I'm great. I'm an expert sinker, which is awesome. And yes, Chris says focus is the only way to get serious writing done. Yes. For those of you that write, or that want to write, I think I alluded to this in one of the posts, and I said, listen, writing is a great craft, but it's a craft, and you got to dedicate time to it, like anything else that you want to really get good at. And it's one of those solitary crafts. And even though I have a fantastic group of writer friends like John Logsdon, Ben Zackheim, Eric, I have like, you know, a great Noah, and there's so many in the mob that are like, you know, great friends. Kimbra, you know, Kirsten. There's so many people that are my author friends. Annie, you guys don't really know Annie, but she's also a great writer friend. At the end of the day, it's still you with your Sitzfleisch, as Stacy says. Put your butt in the chair and your writing device, whether it be a notebook, whether it be your computer. At the end of the day, it's just you. So you got to be okay with being alone. If you're not okay with being alone, writing may not be for you, because it's really you alone with your thoughts and the story. And there's a lot of time just like that, and you got to be okay with that. Let's see. Paige says that second shot. Yeah, I've heard a lot about the second shot taking you out. So what I've decided is that on the second shot, Dolly gets the second shot. We give her some time to recover, then I'll get my shots, and that way we'll kind of stagger it, and we can all be kind of, you know, up. One of us is always up and around, either to drive the kids or to wrangle them, you know. Davina said I had some nasty side effects from both shots of my vaccine, AstraZeneca, but I've had COVID, and COVID was worse. Yeah, I had COVID. It was worse. At least what I had, I felt was COVID, because it took me out for 3 weeks, and I was in bed for 3 weeks. So I'd rather have the shot than the disease. Water wings. Yeah, I'm gonna pass, John, on water wings. Linda says for some reason it seems the older you are, the less side effects you have. It could be that. Yeah, I can see that being a case, Linda, for sure. Yeah. Exactly. It's just, listen, I don't say I'm old, I'm just less young. That's all. So don't consider yourself old. Consider yourself less young. That's it. Well, see, here's the thing about writers that I've discovered. Most writers, Chris, are introverts, most of them, and have been most of their lives. And when you put them in social settings, they will be civil and polite, but it's not their preference. They don't prefer to be in a social setting, they prefer being alone. Although with other writers, we seem to get along with other writers, but even then, we kind of just need our alone time. And that's just the way it is, you know? Yeah, let's see. My first shot was worse. Davina says apparently if people have already had COVID, it can work that way. Oh, I see. Yeah, I get it. So your body could be reacting to the fact that you already have antibodies in your system. I think it all depends on, because I've heard both things. I've heard that you, like Davina went through, and I've heard that it could be like you don't feel any, you don't get anything. You just get a little bit soreness at the injection shot, at the injection site. So, oh, Paige, I'm sorry to hear that you lost audio. I don't do sign language, sorry. But hopefully your audio comes back. Yeah. But the key, I think, for us to do it is that we need to do it so that either myself or Dolly are able to, like even now with my knee a little bit out of commission, Dolly's the one doing the school runs. So we kind of have to switch off. It's like we're a team that way, you know? So that's the way. But I'm sorry to hear you lost your audio, Paige. So you guys have any without spoiling, do you guys have any questions about Requiem? Because I can answer some of the questions, and we have plenty of time. It's not even 12, and we go all the way to 12:40. So do you have any questions or thoughts about Requiem? And because I'm going to write Divine Intervention right after it. So I have a great opening for Divine Intervention with Cecil, Simon, and Monty being the opening. So that's going to be a fun conversation to start the book of Divine Intervention. But if you have any questions, let me know. And Jeanette, please extend my thanks to Des for the notes that he gave. I didn't officially put him in the end of the book because it completely slipped my mind, because the notes were coming as your name. But I will do so if he does it again in the next book. I'll put Jeanette and then parentheses Des to give him official recognition. His notes were great also. All the art, you guys are always great when you give your notes. Yeah, I think Davina, it's because it's just your physiology. Everyone's different, you know? Yeah, Chris, one parent needs to be on top of things. And in terms of in here, if I'm writing or at the computer, Dolly's running everything outside. She's like making sure schoolwork gets done, lunch. She's like running. She's what keeps this house going. And I'm basically just like creating stuff over here. But she's like getting, make sure she'll let me know if it's my turn to pick up the Valkyrie from school. She'll give me like the 1 hour warning. Hey, don't forget, you gotta, so she's always on top of the schedule. Audrey is asking, will we be seeing more of Callie? Yes, of course, you'll be seeing more of Callie because of what the mark of Callie thing has done to Simon, the mark. You're going to see more of Callie. But I don't like to use Callie too much because she's like good seasoning. You only use a certain amount. So she'll make appearances. If you noticed, Karma hasn't been around for a few books. So she's about due to come back in the next book. So you'll see a lot more of Karma. For sure. Yeah. Oh, Monty's excursions. Yeah, remember when he was in the hospital, he had to make some trips. He made some trips which will be referred to later on in the books. Oh, I'm glad you're back, Paige. I'm sorry you had to shut down the browser and restart it, but I'm glad you're back and you made it. And you were at the binge books too, so I just saw your name. I didn't see your face because I don't know what you look like. But I saw your name and I figured I don't know many pages spelled that way, so I figured it was you at binge books. Yeah, Laura, Dolly is like the engine that keeps everything running. Like you see the screen, but behind me and everything that happens with the little ones and school, and she's the one that makes it all happen. Yeah. Chris asks, will Simon go through any training? Yes, he has to go through training because of his increase in powers. So he's definitely going to go through some training, for sure. The question is, who's going to train him? Who's gonna take that risk to train him? The other question I have is, how many days after walking the razor does Rec Room take place? Not many. Most of my books, if you look at the timeline, they kind of happen pretty close to each other, or a few weeks in between. But they don't really take years and years, or months even. It all depends on how one book ends to where the other book starts. But they're not big gaps in between books. Oh God, if Karma and Kali showed up together, I would never do that because they both begin with a K and that's just confusing for the reader. So I would never do that, Karma and Kali, at the same time. I figured you were there, Paige. Yes. Yeah, she was hiding, Chris. A short story with Dex. I would love to do a short story with Dex. It's just a matter of time because Dex is such a great character. I wouldn't want to shortchange him. I would do a short story, but it has to be something that I can really dedicate time to, And yes, Jeanette won one of the signed books, so yay you. Awesome. And Paige says, I was there, I just wasn't presentable at that hour. What time is it where you are, Paige? Where are you? Davina says, yes. Simon has to go to the Master Yacht Pain Train. On some level, yes, but he also has to get training with the magical side of things, and that can't be Master Yacht, so that's different. John, no. Peaches can't train him. So Peaches can train him so long as Simon has plenty of pastrami. Yeah, okay. Morning, Kimbra, and welcome. Good to have you here. I just mentioned you, Kimbra. All good, all good. We just need time for Tristan to be naughty. Yeah, I don't know. I saw the giant duck, Dan. That was a great pick. It was the Quackin'. I saw it. It was awesome. Welcome. Paige, I totally understand. Especially when you're retired and you don't have to get up. You get up whenever you want to get up, which is awesome. You gotta check the feed in the mob group, Davina. There's a duck there. A tiny one. About the size of a cruise liner. Jeanette, yeah, that training, so the training is going to have to take place, I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe the moving library with Ziller, because Ziller would be ideal for that, and something like that. So we'll see, in the living library. Or maybe even Dex could train, that would be fun, Dex training Simon, because he almost nearly killed him in walking the razor. So it would be fun to have Dex train him. Because now that sounds like fun. Because I can just imagine Dex and what Dex would say training Simon, as Simon accidentally almost kills him or unleashes untold havoc. So yes. Yes, Sammy. Oh, and thank you, Sammy, for... I don't know what the W stands for, so I'm just going to use Sammy. Thank you for the... for sharing that Monty and Simon figurine. Those look awesome. So thank you. Those look incredible. I think it would be great to have... I think that's the way to go. With Dex and Simon having like a little one-on-one time to kind of get that Ignis Vitae under control, his magic missile, to get it under control, and all the other stuff like the Dawn Ward and being a shield bearer, all that fun stuff. It's gonna be hard for Simon to get that stuff under control because he's not naturally a mage. So we'll see what happens as he progresses through the books. And also, don't forget that Monty is still dealing with the effects of the schism. So, yeah. Ah, okay. That's true, Davina. So Davina says that any picture of a duck, someone has to say what duck. Because of the Duckman in the Discworld series, who has a duck on his head but doesn't know. If you haven't read that, those who know, know. That's all I have to say about that. Yeah, the last time, see, if you guys remember on the plane, on Renee's plane of the 10, when Dex was teaching Simon what happened to the plane, just think about that multiplied many times. Poor plane. We still have to get Renee another plane because Simon kind of punched a hole through that one and they had to crash land. So yeah. So it's gonna be something like that, but just on a much larger scale. I think that's the way to go with because Monty can't do it. Monty wouldn't have the patience for it, and Ziller's kind of busy handling the entire living library. But Dex, because you also have to understand, Dex is gonna have to confront both Monty and Simon about this little agreement they made with the Morgan. So Dex is not gonna be a happy camper about that. Ooh, I'm pixelated again. So cool. Yes, Renee. Renee's one of the 10. So they're members of the members of the 10. You'll realize who they are if you really observe it. You can find out who the 10 are. I really have to write that story. That's another novella that has to get done at some point. Because those could be like the Black Ops missions that no one knows about. And Dex definitely will feature in those. But that would be a lot of fun to do. The Black Ops 10 missions. Because the 10 are known in Mage, I guess in the Mage community or in the magical community. They're just not liked, but they're highly respected. Are we coming out on YouTube? So on Facebook, it has moments of pixelation, but most of the time it looks pretty clear. I don't know if it's on HD or not. Yeah, you don't want to have Monty trying to train Simon. That, because Monty would lose his patience real quick and probably just blast them, which wouldn't do anything, but then it'd be destruction. And then Simon would probably do something inadvertently and destroy something else. It would just, yeah. I'm seeing the FB comments, so yes. If you're asking me, Chris. It's great. We got like 40 minutes. It's so awesome. A lot of time. Yes. So one of the things that a lot of people, I guess a lot of readers were saying that they enjoy the banter. And the banter between Simon and Monty, I think I kind of touched upon this during the Binge Books interview. It's like they're an old married couple, but I think it goes back to when I was much, much younger, and I used to watch The Odd Couple with Jack Klugman, and oh man, I can't remember the other actor's name. That banter that they had, I think, really made an impression on my very young brain. And so it was perfect to kind of bring that kind of banter to the Monty and Simon characters. That's how they would speak to each other, you know. But I think it's ideal. The way they speak, the way they deal with each other is perfect, you know, in the sense of they don't take each other too seriously. You can tell that they care about each other a lot, but they also have very strong characters, temperaments, very opinionated and very set in their ways, and not really willing to bend too much in any different directions. So, and Jeanette, I'm glad you enjoy your character's moment. You're the official red shirt, but there have been, I guess they weren't called red shirts prior to you, so you're the official first red shirt. But Cassandra was a red shirt. Well, she was a character that died. Craig was a character that died. I don't think he's on the episode today. But there were a few, but you're the official first red shirt. So that's a lot of fun. Let's see. Matter at Monty because he should know better. But take it out on Simon. Yeah, that's probably what would happen, Davina, for sure. Tony Randall. Yes, Linda, thank you. If you've never watched The Odd Couple, and I know I'm dating myself because The Odd Couple was so long ago, and I don't even know if these actors are still alive, Tony Randall and Jack Klugman. But one was a slob and one was super neat. The Tony Randall character was super neat. The Jack Klugman character was slob, and they had to live together. And the episode, I guess I was a really strange kid. The episodes were really fun to watch, just the way they dealt with everything. It was really, I enjoyed the show, and I was really young when it came out. Let's see what we have. Yes, Tony Randall was Felix. Yes, and I think Jack Klugman was he Oscar? I think that Oscar was the name of the character. Who? Oh yes, well. I think there are a lot of people, Davina, who fangirl about the characters, and it's okay as long as it's fangirling. It's when it gets past fangirling that it gets a little out of hand. Yeah, here's the thing about writing the dialogue. So I've heard that writing dialogue is difficult. I think that for me, it's not difficult for me, but I think what it is that I was exposed to such amazing dialogue as a child from the shows that I grew up watching and the books that I grew up reading, that I just kind of assimilated the cadence and the rhythm of dialogue. And for others, I think it's world building and scenes, but for me, it's the dialogue, how characters should sound. And so even now in the story that I'm writing with Iker, I was kind of stuck, not so much in the story, but in how his foil, the second, how she needed to sound. Because Iker's a very powerful character. I needed someone just as powerful, if not more powerful, to kind of keep him in check. And I needed to get her voice the way it needed to be. So she's a cross between, I want to say, Eartha Kitt and she's like a Catwoman cross. You know what I mean? And so she's very dangerous, but she has this kind of allure to her. But there's no romance, but she's just very dangerous. She's dangerous is what it is. Yeah. Oh, Paige, I'm sorry to hear that they both passed. Yeah. That show was fantastic. It was fantastic. Yeah. Oscar would just throw wrappers on the floor just to piss Felix off. Yeah. It was amazing. I believe in the movie that was Walter Matthau, John, if I'm not mistaken. Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon in the movie. So what I learned early, Jeanette, is that the dialogue is action. And I learned that really early on, and it never left me, it always stuck with me. Dialogue is action, it's not just dialogue, so your dialogue has to work. It has to do, this is what I learned, your dialogue needs to do not double, but triple duty. It has to move the action forward, it has to reveal something of the characters, and it has to show the thoughts and the feelings of them, and move the story. And so your dialogue really has to do a lot of work, has to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So, and a lot of people, if you notice, well, I don't know, a lot of people tell me this, that they don't really look at the blocks of paragraphs, which you've noticed when I write, I try not to make too many blocks. But a lot of people focus on the dialogue, and they really read the dialogue, but then they won't read the blocky parts. So, and you have to make sure that each voice is distinct. That's key. Your dialogue, when I read it, most only see the dialogue. Yeah, it's true. A lot of people just see the dialogue, Chris, for sure. Davina says the issue I sometimes have with dialogue in books as a reader is trying to keep track of who's talking. Sometimes if there aren't enough X set lines, you can get, yes. And that's why early on I made that mistake, and I had characters with the same names, or started with the same names, and that confused readers. So I tried to avoid that. But every so often, you have to say X said, just to keep the dialogue straight in readers' minds, for sure. John, I know what you're saying, that how can you not read it all, but there are people who skim the blocks and go straight to dialogue. That's just the way they read, you know? Yeah, I hear it too, Jeanette. Jeanette says I hear the dialogue. I hear it too. And even more so when Kevin does the narration, he sends me the samples, then I really hear the dialogue, because now in my head I'm hearing Monty and Simon and even Peaches in his Vinnie Jones voice. So yes. And I have to, oh yeah, we have to do something about Peaches in terms of his increasing power too. I hope I'm not spoiling for anyone, but in Requiem, Peaches didn't really get to go all out because it was really Simon's story. But in the next book, in Divine Intervention, Peaches is going to play a big role, because there are going to be some heavy hitters coming into everything happening, and Peaches is really important. I mean, Peaches is a star. Let's get it straight. Peaches is the star of the series. We all know that. But he's going to have to really come into play in the next, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About the next 7 books, Peaches starts taking a central part. And we start understanding why Hades gave Simon Peaches. That's when it starts to get really good. Because remember, that combination of an immortal and a hellhound, that's dangerous. That could stand up to everything. So, yeah. Yeah, he hasn't started. So Jeanette's saying, the other thing I'm looking forward to is hearing Kevin narrate Jean. Kevin is phenomenal in terms of his narration. So when he narrates the hour, I want to see how that works. Yeah, I couldn't name the series Peaches and His Two Humans. That doesn't really have the same ring as the Monty and Strong Detective Agency. But it's really called Peaches and the Two Humans. Yes, Jeanette, Hades is playing a very, very long game, but then he's a god, so he can afford to. But here's an interesting, somebody, I think it was Tony Bush, who was saying, why isn't Peaches on any of the cover on the cover of the book? But Peaches is very rarely on the cover of any. I don't think he's on the cover of any Monty and Strong book. He's on the cover of A Proper Hellhound because that story deals with him, because he's getting his obedience lesson. And he's definitely on the cover of Brut and Shoe because those are his stories. But he's never been on the cover of a Montague and Strong novel. So people who ask me, who's Peaches? I say, he's in Monty and Strong. But I've never seen him on a cover. And you never will, because Peaches is kind of like that hidden character. He's not really that hidden. But he's like a little secret within the Monty and Strong books that people don't discover until you have to read the books to discover it. Vacation, yes, but that's a short story. It's not a novel. Vacation is going to be a short story. And I'm still concerned about that because it shows Monty and Strong holding up glasses of alcohol. And I don't know if they're going to have Amazon's going to have a fit about that cover. Dan says, having just reread the first Sepia 3 in prep for Nameless, I know, but had to make room in my reading to get to a point where I could go back to that. Are Fuma or Gan, even Raphael, part of the tent? Because to use some English slang, they come across as very handy. They are very handy. I can't answer that without spoiling something later on. But yes, that's all I can say. Exactly, John. The Peaches cover would just be a titanium bowl with a slobbery head. So I wouldn't want to put Peaches in that position. So I like to showcase them as best as possible. Where are they destroying? They actually go to Hades, the place for a vacation. Hades sends them to Hades because he figures it's the one place they can go without causing havoc, and he's mistaken. So, but that's where they end up going for vacation. It's also because he thinks and they think it's one place where they won't be attacked or be, hunted. Again, a mistake. But that's where they go for vacation. They allude to that. I think Simon says we can go to Hades for vacation. It's probably nice this time of year or something like in one of the stories. But that's just the thing. He's not going to be there when they're there, or where he sends them, John. Then he's going to send them to a place where he doesn't actually watch, and then things will go awry, as usually happens. Although in Requiem, I hope this isn't a spoiler, but in Requiem, they're not really responsible for that much destruction. Exactly, Davina. And you can never underestimate Simon and Peach's abilities to get into trouble. Yeah, right? So Jeanette says, someone thinks that destruction wouldn't follow those three. That is someone who is deluded. In that case, Hades thinks, I got this. I'm going to send them somewhere where they can't destroy anything. Without realizing that there's really no place in existence, no plane in existence that they can't go somewhere that they wouldn't destroy something. So there you have it. But I'm not going to write that one for a while. It's a short story. It's like The Date. The Date was a lot of fun to write. And that was going to be like The Date. So it's going to be a short story. I really have to focus on getting the longer books out because there's so many of them. And like 2022 is really going to be mostly the year of Monty and Strong. So yeah, it's going to be really focused on them, on the Monty and Strong. 2022 is going to be their year with side stories, little short stories, other short stories, but mostly them. So, and it's never their fault, Chris. You know that. Never. It's never their fault. All right, let me get to some of the questions because it's almost 12:15, and I want to make sure I address all the questions that were sent. So here we go. Let me get to the questions on the event. If my internet cooperates. And then we'll see what the questions are for this week. Here we go. Bum, bum, bum. So I want to just express another thank you to all the guys, all of you who came to the binge books. That was awesome. All right, question number 1 from Laura Tallman. She asks, will Simon fully bond with Peaches, and if so, how will it affect him? I would say, or I would argue, that Simon is fully bonded with Peaches, but has he expressed the fullness of that bond? And I think that will take a little longer, because he's not quite where it's not because of Peaches, it's because of Simon. The same way Simon can't really understand Peaches when he does his Excel voice unless Peaches is Excel. Simon is not where he needs to be in terms of power so that Peaches can speak to him regularly without probably exploding his brain. So it's going to take Simon a while to catch up to the bond. They're bonded, but once he fully gets to where he needs to, and that won't happen for a long time, if ever, because there's always going to be something that Simon has to learn, it'll affect him in a way that he'll just be more powerful, and they'll work better together as a team. I hope that answered your question, Laura. Let's see. Melody asks, how do you balance writing and our demands for more with the other parts of your life? I have an amazing wife named Dolly who handles the other parts of my life. I train really insanely early in the morning, so I get up at 4 in the morning, and then I go to the gym by 5 in the morning, and then the rest of the day I'm juggling with Dolly, and I try to get my writing early, get it in early. So it's just a balancing act, and I really depend on Dolly for a lot of things to get done. So that's how I balance my writing. Anyone who writes usually has someone or someone's. In my case, I have a whole team of people around me who support me. No one who writes, and even though writing is a solitary endeavor, as I say, you're not alone when you write. You have a group of people around you who support you. So in my case, I'm very fortunate to have Dolly, and I have the pack who handle the mob room. The actual room is really the pack who watch and make sure it stays a safe space. So shout out to the pack, and you guys know who you are. And even this, a shout out to Chris who does this technomancy on the YouTube end. So it's never just me. Even though I'm like the talent in the front, I have a mob behind me of amazing people. Like the art is another mob of people. It's usually like 50, 60, 70 people who give notes on the first draft of the book. So it's never just me. So I balance it by surrounding myself with fantastic, amazing people, Melody. I hope that answers your question. Audrey asks, Orlando, what is the most difficult part of your writing process? It's a good question. I would have to say, for me, currently, making sure that the end, what I call the final epic battle, is long enough. Because what I usually do, and I've discovered, is I have all this build up, and then when I get to the final battle, it's like, and done. And so I have to draw it out so that it's not just an asteroid hits the planet and we're finished. But to draw it out to such an extent where it feels satisfying, but not so long that you're like, oh my God, are they going to end this already? So it has to have that balance. But I find that the hardest part of anything, like of any writing, that I just making the final battle long enough to be satisfying, but not too long enough that it gets tiresome. That's the hardest part right now. I think it changes over time, but that right now. Dolly can't answer your question about who was her childhood hero because she's not here. But don't worry, I will make sure she remembers the question. Little Valkyrie, what is your favorite store? Z?
Coming.
She's coming. Come answer your favorite store.
That's what I'm doing.
What is your favorite store? The answer's coming. What's your favorite store?
CVS or the convenience store.
CVS or the convenience store is her favorite store.
Because they have candy.
Oh, because they have candy. Yes. Okay. Those are the answers to those questions, Audrey. Ted asks, will Simon accept his mageness and become something more? No, he won't accept it. Because it's a real break in reality for him to accept it. He can accept that he has abilities. He will never accept that he's a mage, because he's not a mage. So he's a person who has extra abilities. So, but he does have the influence of the dragon blood, and he has the influence of the energy manipulation. So we have to see what that turns him into. Like Monty says, he's an anomaly. He's some weird hybrid type thing. So we'll see. And those are the questions from the posts, from the event questions. So let's see if we have any other questions. Oh, hey Tammy, welcome. I didn't see you come in. I was reading the questions I was on the other page. So welcome and happy birthday, Tammy. Let's see. I'm scrolling back to catch up with the feed because you guys go so fast. All right, let's see. Okay. Typical God arrogance, thinks that his place is secure enough to outweigh the inbuilt destructo magnet. Exactly. He's gonna think. Hades is gonna think my place is secure enough that no matter what devastation they can create, it's not gonna damage this place, and he's gonna be mistaken. So there will be extenuating circumstances. We're at 45 minutes. Yeah, let's see. I want to do the questions early because sometimes there are questions that come up in the feed, and I want to get to them as much as I can. And usually what I do after the episode is done, I try to go back and look through everything and see if there are any unanswered questions. I try to answer the questions that I didn't get to while we're having the episode. It's hard because there's so many comments and questions. So if I miss your question or I miss your comment, feel free to PM me or put it in the mob and I'll try to get to it. Okay? Jeanette says Simon still needs to grow into the bond. And that will be an ongoing thing because hellhounds are very, very powerful. And Davina says exactly. Simon is still clinging to the tattered shreds of his normal life. And he's stubborn. And so he doesn't get that normal life is gone. And so he's going to have a hard time transitioning into, as Monty keeps telling him, you're not normal anymore. You're not a typical human. He doesn't get it and he doesn't want to get it. So, yeah. Tammy says 4 a.m. is not a time meant to be acknowledged. Yeah, it is. That's when I wake up, Tammy. I acknowledge it all the time. Usually with growls, grunts, and very angry face. Oh, so Linda wants to know, in the audiobooks, does Peach's accent change when he goes to Excel? Does he sound more like Monty? That's a great question, Linda, that I can't answer because I don't listen to the audiobooks. I haven't listened to them. because I'm busy writing the books. I haven't had time to listen. I listen to the samples, and usually the samples are just the first 15 minutes of the book. And it has never happened in the first 15 minutes of the book that he immediately goes Excel and starts speaking. So if anyone has heard, I would guess Jeanette and all the other people, has heard Peaches in XL mode, does he sound like himself with the accent, or does he sound like Monty? Oh, that gets revealed later on, Jeanette, as well. So Jeanette wants to know what crazy he brought to the supernatural world. That gets revealed later on, because the whole story, the whole thing about Shadow Company is not done. So, and also what didn't he do that got him kicked out of Shadow Company? That was touched upon, but it wasn't really revealed. Tammy's like, I'm watching you now. Watching you. Is that the gesture you're doing, Tammy? Happy birthday, Tammy. Let's see. Only acknowledge if you can leave work and go home to bed. See, usually, Joe, I leave bed and go to train at 4 a.m. So, but leaving the night shift at 4 is a gift because you're out. Like Chris says, I do have many special groups. I do. It's amazing. Requiem. Let's see. So Jeanette says Requiem was the right length. Requiem came in at 65K, 66K, around there. And it was going to be 50K. They're all going to be 50K when I start. And then I kind of let them, once they hit 50K, I can tell if a book is going to end by 50K. If I get to 49K and there's still much to be left, I know it's going to go way past 50K. And this one going to 65. So, yeah. Davina says, before I got sick, 2 a.m. was fine, as long as it was seen from being still up, not getting up. Yeah. Yeah, well, I can see that. If you're already up, then 2 a.m. is just another hour. If you have to get up, it's work. Like, trust me, at 4 a.m., 4 a.m. is not always easy. I can say I'm used to it, but it's not always easy. Jeanette says, Requiem does show a lot about the character, the core of the character. Yes, I try to do that with Requiem. I try to reveal more about them. Because it was going back to where Simon was coming from and why he was the way he was. Exactly, Cynthia. That's a great encapsulation of what Simon's personality is. Simon is the universe investigating possibilities. And that's, if you had to wrap Simon up into one phrase, that would be Simon. That's fantastic, Cynthia. Thank you. Yeah, it's not complicated enough. It is a little simple. For Simon's brain, even though he gets blindsided by the world that he's been thrust into, the workings of the world, not so much, but the it's hard to explain, but the way things happen in the world throw him a little bit, but the world itself doesn't, because he's used to that kind of world. He's just not used to how the things operate in that world, you know. So Heather says, I've noticed that in Simon's presence is almost an instant smile from Monty. He doesn't smile in for Roxanne. Right, because there's a camaraderie with Simon and Monty. And understand that Monty and Roxanne's situation is complicated. And so, yeah, it's tough for Monty. Remember what he alludes to? I don't want to spoil it if you haven't read Requiem. So remember what he alludes to in Requiem about his revealing emotions and feelings. Oh, great. See, Jeanette tells me. Peaches, XL Peaches is more articulate. But does he sound different? Does he still have the Vinnie Jones accent, Jeanette? And Audrey says, Simon's need to figure out that normal is just a viewpoint. Simon's just stubborn. I think he gets that, but I think he doesn't want to relinquish his point of view. You know? What sounds were you making? Oh, Chris says, I was asked politely by Annie to stop making ouch sounds every time you move. Yeah, that's going to be hard. Even now, like last night, oh my God, my knee was acting up. I blame you, Chris. Oh, okay, so Kevin does have a slightly different accent for XL Peaches. That's excellent. Great. See, at some point I'm going to listen to these books. Let's see. Peach just sounds like himself in Excel, just more refined. Excellent. That's great to hear. Oh, the narration's fantastic by Kevin. I'm blown away by the way Kevin does the books. And Jeanette, yeah, exactly. Never back an honorable man into a corner. What happened in Requiem in terms of how they got Monty to cooperate was, as they say, a road too far. You don't push someone like Monty. You don't put him into that kind of situation. Dan wants to know, can I book a corner table for one at Fong's under the name Silk, please? Silk is the man. Yeah, you could, for sure. You especially can definitely book a table at Fong's for that, under that name. YouTube asks, will I be doing any more interviews or podcasts? If I'm invited, I will certainly, and if it fits within the schedule, definitely. Binge Books as an invitation came out of the blue. And they kind of come in spurts. They come in like groups of like 2 or 3. And then if it works, so there's some criteria. It has to work for the schedule. It can't be at some ungodly hour. And it also has to be the right context, the right place. So that if I'm going to go there, it's something that's going to represent the books well. Not in terms of marketing, but who I am as a person and who the books are, or what the books are as stories. So I would have to go to a place that really is going to honor that. The stories more than me, but yeah. But if I'm invited, I will certainly go. Podcasts, I think, are fun. I'm really comfortable doing this format, which is very much like Binge Books or what we do on the Mob TV. When I started, I was a nervous wreck, and now I'm really comfortable with it. And also because it's with you guys that makes it really comfortable. So it's like being with family in one of your favorite places. That's like home, and so I'm really comfortable doing that. And so if someone invites me, I'll go. Sure, I don't mind, as long as I don't have to wear like a suit or anything. I don't do suits well, but I'm always open. I'm always open to doing interviews and podcasts. All I have to is just the invitation. There are no random Australia podcasts. I've never heard of it. I'm sure they exist, obviously, but I haven't been invited by any podcast from Australia. Sorry. Is Ayrton my youngest fan? Because he isn't a fan of the books. He's too young for them. He's a fan of you. Oh, that is so awesome. Tell Ayrton I'm so honored and humbled to have me as a fan. How old is Ayrton again? And I can tell you if he's the youngest fan. I don't think you look like a stalker. Well, you know what, Jeanette? I don't know what stalkers look like, because stalkers, by their very definition, don't usually like to let themselves be seen. So, there you go. Alright, so let me see if there's any... Usually Dolly gives me all these great notes, so I'm working off notes that I have. I don't think there's anything new to update. The next projects are Iker the Unseen, which you guys know I'm working on. Divine Intervention, which is the Monty Strong number 14. I can't believe we're at 14 books. And Sepia, which is going to be the final one of the pentology. Yes, at 7, he is my youngest reader / fan. I don't like to say I have fans, because for me it has a negative connotation being a fan. But since he doesn't read my books, he would have to be a fan. So yes, at 7, he's my youngest fan. Plans for the weekend. Iker. Get some Iker done. And we may be watching Princess Bride again. Depends. That might be up for consensus. Some of the one Valkyrie is like, no, we already seen this 1,000 million times. And the other one is like, please, can we just watch The Princess Bride? Because A Monster Calls was rough on them. It was a little too sad. So, but yeah, those are the plans for the week. And resting the knee so that I could kind of get it functioning again for a Monday. Yes, we allow young fans, but for the most part, as Chris says, I have readers. But we allow young fans, because if they can't read, for sure. Yeah, that big no was Z. She's like, no Princess Bride. I'll tell you the reason why. Because I start doing the dialogue along with the movie. Even before the movie it says it, I start doing the dialogue. I hope it's a good question, Jeanette. So the condition of being a red shirt is that every red shirt has to create a question for the next red shirt. And it's got to be good. So I hope it's a good question, Jeanette. No, it's the final sepia, John. For real. 5 books to Pentology. I'm done with sepia after that. No more sepia. She's closing it out, and I'm gonna try and give it a good closure. So if I ever do have to revisit the story, I will. But it's the same thing like with the Spiritual Warriors. I was 5 and done. Pentologies are rough to write. They're not as, how do I explain it? They're not as easy as trilogies because they don't follow that kind of 3-act structure. So they have to rise over 2 books, kind of peak at the middle book, and then drop at the last 2 books. And it's hard to do that with 5 books. It's doable. It's just harder to do. Yeah, let's see. Tammy's version for, yeah. Show Z Tammy's version for me. Oh, okay. So we've got about 10 minutes, it looks like. 5 acts is harder. And in terms of writing story structure, there's different schools of thought. Obviously, there's the 3-act, which is what we're all used to. There's 4-act, there's 5-act. I've seen up to 12 acts, like breaking the story up into 12 separate sections, 14 even. I use something that's a combination between the 3-act, but broken up into 14 sections in 3 acts, though. So it still conforms to a 3-act structure with different subparts. It's still easy, but to do that in a pentology, it's work because each book, remember, has to conform to 3 acts too. We're exactly at 1 hour. Yes, we have about 10 minutes. So I'm trying to be diligent with the time for downloading purposes, as they say. And I want to extend a great big thank you to everyone on YouTube. And guys, don't forget to go on YouTube and follow us so we can grow our numbers. That'll be awesome. Well, if you guys have any questions, this is the time to ask. Any other questions that I won't spoil? The security vetting processes needs work in M&S. Depends where. Elias Pern was blindsided because he didn't expect his team to turn against him. I can't say too much more than that if you haven't read it. I've said too many numbers. You're fish. Which too many numbers? Just like, subscribe, and share everywhere we are. Instagram, YouTube, Binge Books, BookBub. Where else are we? That's it. And visit ZAZZLE and join our Patreon. There you go. That's it. I hope that cleared up some of the confusion for you, Davina. That's all we ask. Yeah. So is Monty in trouble, Roxanne? What do you think, Audrey? He left the hospital. He left Haven. I think it's... So here's the thing. I think it's not just Monty. I think it's also Simon. Because she told Simon to come back to her before he left. Because she wanted to share something with him, right? But Monty left and left a whole kind of deceptive energy signature and didn't even tell her. Do you think Roxanne's going to take that well? Yeah, not so much. So, I don't know about this Mighty Network, so I'm not going on that. So that's not something I'm going to touch until I know more about. And I'm not on Mighty Network, so there you go. Tammy says, I pimped out the ZAZZLE store to... How do you say his first name? Is it Nikki or Nisi or Nichi? It's a great name. I just can't pronounce it. How do you say her name? Nichi? Nisi? Nisi? I still think it's a great name. I don't know if I could ever use it in a story, but it's a great name. Her wallet is crying. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Davina. Yeah. So, okay. I'll break it down real simple. Okay? It's 3 acts, and each act has sections from 1 to 14. So the first act has 5 sections. The second act has 1, 2. It's on my clipboard. That's what I'm looking. It's on my board in front of me. So 5. The second act has 4, and the last act has, I don't know, whatever's left. So it's 3 acts broken up into 14 sections. Nikki. Okay, got it. It's like Italian. Nikki. Got it. Yes. Which question, Jeanette? The one about is Monty gonna get in trouble? I'm sorry, the camera's up here. I'm looking at the screen, which has a feed. Ah, okay. Well, I'm not gonna get into that because I'm not familiar with the Mighty Network, so I can't speak to it. But I'm not there, so you can't follow me there. So, Jeanette, which question did you want to ask about Monty getting in trouble? Yes, he's going to get in trouble, but I think it's going to be mostly Simon who gets in trouble, unfortunately. A lot of people keep telling me I'm beating up on Simon. I'm not beating up on Simon. It's just that he's got to understand that he has more responsibility than he thinks he does. But don't worry. Nana's coming back to school him on the fact that he has more responsibility. Let's see. Davina says I'm on FB and Twitter. That's as much social media as I can handle. There you go. That works, Davina. Dan says, is Olga's character going to come into play at any point? There's always hints at her power love and huge. Yeah, Olga's character is a background character unless the Moscow becomes directly threatened like it was by Cece. Then you see more of her. But other than that, she does things behind the scenes like create a personal parking elevator for Monty and Strong, or she gives them a designated space so that no one touches the dark goat. Things like that. But she's not gonna, again, unless the Moscow is directly threatened, I don't think she's going to play a main role. Her job is basically to keep the Moscow running and to keep Cece in check and to keep Monty teaching Cece until Cece outgrows his teaching. It's like looking to mirrors with all of yeah. Oh yeah, because I'm looking. I see myself here, and then I see myself here, and yeah, it's all over the place. Yeah, and you've got 4, so imagine. I'm not. What exactly is Brokenwood, John? I haven't seen that. Is that a show somewhere? That sounds interesting. Yeah, so when I ask you to find us on Instagram and YouTube, you do what you can in terms of your social. There's no obligations, no pressure, guys. You do what you can. I'm honored enough to have you guys on FB and YouTube if you're there. So don't feel pressured to follow us everywhere. If that's as much social media as you can take, and trust me, we all have our moments of, okay, I can't do any social media, it's just too much. You do as much as you can, The delay is crazy. Okay. Olga is going to now get annoyed with you for calling her background and insist on being a man. No, see, it's interesting. With Olga, I've never had the need to write her own story. She was always background, just like Andre, right? But the moment I wrote... So here's how it works away. It's a weird thing in my brain. The moment I wrote Elias... And what happened to him, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but what happened to him at the end of the story, I already envisioned Elias having his own set of stories. Because that character just lends itself to, well, what happened after this job? And how did he get to be where he is now? It's just that it's a weird thing. And Olga, not so much. It's interesting. Oh, it's a murder mystery show out of New Zealand. Brokenwood. I wonder if Netflix has it. I'll have to check it out. Jeanette says, what did Roxanne want to talk to Simon about? I can't say yet. Next book, maybe. I'm going to pick up the next book right after Requiem, though. Because like I said, the next book starts with Cecil having a conversation with Monty and Simon about the doozy that got broken into little bits, but it wasn't their fault. But that's the conversation. That's how the book starts. So yeah. Wow, this episode just went by so fast. You're getting him mixed up with Davina. You're getting him mixed up with Jimmy the Cleaver. So yeah, the proprietor of the Randy Rump, or Ursula, who's also a werebear. So there you go. All right, guys, we're about to wrap this up. So where's my closer? My closer's coming. Hold on. Make sure you wish them a happy weekend. Come in.
Okay. Have a happy weekend.
What episode is this?
49.
Of what? Of
Mod
Z's
TV.
face.
Mod TV.
And bye.
Bye.
Really? That's it? See? Yeah. Oh wow, a disembodied hand. All right, guys, listen. Yes, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. People are getting vaccinated, but please observe social distance still when you can. Get your vaccines as soon as you can, you know, when you can, as long as it's safe. Take all the necessary precautions you need to. Wear your mask still, because that's still one of the safest ways to deal with what's happening in the world. If you're uncertain about what's going on, look at India. It's getting really bad over there. So this thing is still out there. Okay? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, those of you that were at Binge Books. Thank you for going to Binge Books and hanging out and making it kind of a mob TV Binge Books situation. I want you guys to have a great weekend. Just, you know, have good food, good company, rest, and by all and everything, I want you to be uncommon. Have a great day, guys. Bye.